Hello and welcome back to 94.7 Hits FM. I am here with MiQ the Burb Boy. How are you?
I'm doing great, buddy. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, just getting used to the life that we're living in nowadays, you know?
Apparently, man. I just see these masks everywhere, and I know that this is the norm now, you know?
Yeah, exactly. How have you been doing with all of this?
I've been good. I mean, it's been weird. I'm a very personable person. I like shaking hands, giving hugs.
Yeah.
So, during this, I've been very hesitant. I start to go in for a high five, and then I'm like, oh, wait, I'm not supposed to.
Yeah, exactly.
But, life-wise, good. Just been working on music, trying to get the release together, and working at my dad's dealership in the meantime, helping him out. So it's been good.
Yeah,
Keeping a good balance.
Yeah, because you have a new song coming out at the end of the month, right?
Yeah, exactly. July 31st. It's called You Knew Me.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for everyone to hear it, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later, but I just kind of wanted to get, a bit more of an idea of who you are and your music and just life in general.
For sure. So I am MiQ the Burb Boy, MiQ the Burb Boy. I've always grown up in the burbs. Like, my whole life was in Kirkland and then DDO. So I always grew up around, semicircles. You ever drove through and there's all these semicircles.
Exactly.
So my logo is two B's with a semicircle under it, and people think it's just a smiley face, but it's because I've always grown up in semicircles. So I have that logo to always remind me where I'm from, because I know that at one point I want to travel the world, see all the countries, see all that, but I'm always going to be a Burb Boy at heart, And I chose Burb Boy because every time I would tell people I'm a rapper, they would assume that I rapped about drugs and about women and about that kind of stuff. But I'm like, no, I'm a boy from the suburbs. They're like, oh, okay. Okay. So then it gives them an idea of my music, my music is just a reflection of my life.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, obviously I did know your name, and I didn't know that there was so much of a story behind it, but it's cool when there's something that is so simple, like a name, and it really does. I mean, now that I know it, it says all of that in just such a simple way. You don't really have to explain it. It just kind of, it puts it out there, which is what a good name should do, right? That's really what it should do. So it obviously sounds like Montreal has inspired you a lot with your music.
So I've been here. This is the second time I'm here. I came for my song Blissful, because I released an album back in March, right before the pandemic.
Which I was going to ask you about. So
it was called Burb Boy vs. the City. And I linked up with a bunch of producers and artists from all around the city, and we made this album, and it was so great. And then the pandemic kind of, it sidetracked the plans for the release, but it was still received very well by friends and supporters. Mad fans were hitting me up, telling me how much they loved it. So I knew that, I could either harp on how much I missed out on, or I could plan for the next thing. And that's what I started doing. So I started planning for the next release, which is You Knew Me, and I started getting, the cover art and the lyric video and all these things together, because I believe that, there's a change coming. At least, I believe in my life, I've been feeling like there's a change coming. And at first, I saw this pandemic as a pain, but over the last couple months, it's been a lot of growth and a lot of self-reflection, and I feel like it's been honestly good for me. I know that, it's terrible what's going on, but at least in my personal life, I've been able to find some happiness in all the madness,
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's something that's very hard to do as people, but also as artists, that, you want to share your work. You want to have something that you can give to people and your gift to the world. And it's hard to find that in these dark times, but sometimes, that extra little struggle that you may be going through can help bring out this whole new side that you didn't really know was there, and inspire you in this whole new way. So I'm happy that you're still moving forward. I hope that you were still able to enjoy the release a little bit and still enjoy the feedback that you've gotten, because it sounds like it's been great.
Yeah, it was cool. It was honestly really dope to get everyone's feedback. I remember I did a little Instagram live for the release. And, a lot of people joined in, and I just felt at least if I can't have the release party, I'll celebrate with them on the live. And I was drinking, and I popped a little bottle at the midnight as a little celebration, so I'm trying to find, even though things have changed so much, you got to find your normalness in the change. You have to find the stuff that makes you comfy and makes you happy in this new environment,
Yeah, exactly. That's 100% that. And so speaking of new environment and, what's coming, You have your new song, You Knew Me, that's coming July 31st.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that, the story behind it.
So You Knew Me was, I work in Toronto with some producers, and we've created a lot of songs together. We were all focused on, it's big time, I guess, like in my head, I see these songs as like such a big step up and like in a new direction for me, because I've always been a rapper, but I've always been like kind of very underground. And I feel like this is that bridge for me where I kind of cross over from underground to like sort of, it's the kind of music that my parents can listen to. You know what I mean? Like it's not the rap music where they're like, we don't want to.
What's happening?
It's the kind of music that they can share with their friends, and their friends can be like, oh wow, this is rap. Like okay, so it's more digestible, and I have a lot of confidence in it. But the song itself is actually, it's beautiful in a way, like because it was very cathartic for me to get it out. It was about this realization that I was in a relationship a couple years ago, and I did some bad things in that relationship. I wasn't the best guy. I didn't make a lot of good decisions. I was going through a tough time, and I don't want to make excuses. I was a bad guy. So this song served as like a realization that I messed up big, and it wasn't her fault. It wasn't something she did. It was just me. It was that I didn't know myself. She knew me better than I knew myself. So the way that I was acting was so out of character that I came to the realization after that, like, I betrayed this girl because she thought that she knew me completely, but then I switched up. But in reality, she did, and I just didn't know who I was. So now that I've, found myself more, I've realized that, who I was back then, that's who I want to be. Like, I was a good guy. I was a good person. It was the decisions I made after that I regret and that I need to, like, make up for in a way. Yeah. So this song was just, it's to serve kind of like a lesson, for people who, because there's a lot of people who make mistakes in love and then can't really accept that they're the blame. There's too many people willing to just throw it onto the other person and say, oh, well, they did this and they did this, so I was justified. But at the end of the day, when you make mistakes, especially when it comes to love, because love is such a fragile and beautiful thing that you shouldn't tamper with it and you shouldn't betray someone's trust. So I'm hoping that people who have hurt other people hear this song and go, you know what? He's right. Like, I messed up. I need to take accountability and I need to apologize for it. Like, reach out to your ex that you did bad and tell her you're sorry. Because at the end of the day, like, they didn't deserve that.
Yeah, and that's gorgeous. Sorry, I'm just thinking about that. That's a really true and relatable sentiment, that it's hard enough to accept when you messed up, especially when you messed up something that you look back on that was good, but to share that with the world and to help other people realize that and grow from that is hard to do, and I applaud you for doing that. And I mean, I have heard the song, but I could hear that from the music, and I could hear your kind of, it's almost sort of asking for forgiveness, but not just from the other person. You're kind of asking it for yourself and kind of asking yourself to acknowledge what had happened and to forgive yourself for it, but not forget your hand in that, and your responsibility in that. And I can hear that, and that's great.
Because there's too many times where, especially with, like, too many people they'll say sorry, you say it's cool, and then they're just like, okay, cool, I'm absolved of everything. Like, it's like I did nothing wrong. But it's like, no, you still did something wrong. So I'm asking for forgiveness, but I'm not asking her to forget what I did. Just understand that I know what I did, and I've learned, and I'm trying to be better since then. And especially, and it's funny because I was talking about it with my cousin yesterday, and it's like, when you hear a quote and it puts into words something that you've thought for a long time, but you've never really put into words. Yeah. So on this song, I have this part where it says, where I'm talking to myself and I say, you're poison. Love yourself or avoid them. If you can't find the peace inside, then you won't make the right choices. Yeah. And after I wrote that, I was like, that's exactly it. Like, I didn't love myself at that time. I didn't have self-confidence. I was making stupid choices just because at the time it felt right, but it was the wrong decisions, Yeah. And it's funny because whenever I play the song for my friends or, for people around me, I always see them nod at that part. Some people will say something about it. Some people will just brush over and, keep going to the next part of the song. But I always see them nod. And you can tell that, like, they hear those lines and they're like, that makes sense. Like, he put it into words. And that's why it made me so happy about this song, because it was one of those tracks where, like, I felt like, you know what? This is real. Like, this is a real part of me. Yeah. I consider this kind of music art. You know what I mean?
Not only as an artist, but as people, it's such a good feeling to not feel alone
It is.
and for someone to relate to what you're going through, because then you know that it's not just you. Everyone's going through it, and we're all just trying to be a little bit better at it.
Exactly.
Well, I'm definitely excited for everyone to hear it. You Knew Me on July 31st. I know it's going to be a great hit, and it's going to be very relatable for a lot of people. I know that definitely for sure. Because even when I was listening to it, I was my first listen, I was trying to really like pay attention and just understand. But then I just slowly started to like, okay, yep, I hear what you're saying. I definitely have sort of felt this way before. So I'm excited for everyone else to hear it. After that, not to look too far in the future, but what else can we look forward to from you?
So that's actually, it's like I've been trying to plan all this out, since I've had so much time. And ideally, after this, I have another single. And then if both of these singles carry out the way that I honestly believe they will, because they just have this catchiness to them, and if they carry out the way I believe they will, then I think it'll set me up for my album. And like, I've had these 4 songs that are all just so anthem, so relatable, so catchy that I'm like, you know what? This is like that next step. So this is the first song, the first release of that next step. And I know I just have this feeling in me, and like, like what they say about manifestation and about mindfulness. I've been super into that lately, and so I keep telling myself like, it's it. This is it. Like, this is that next step. This is that next move in my career. This is that next, And I feel like once people hear these songs and they connect with them, it's just a matter of time, It's just a matter of time before the whole world hears it. And then that's my goal, honestly, is to focus on these 2 songs getting properly out there. Because there's been too many times where I've released music and just been done with it. Just dropped it. Hey guys, it's out. Posted a couple times, but I'm done with it. But these deserve more than that. You know what I mean? These deserve like months of putting it in people's faces and saying, yo, it's out. Check it out. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Well, I'm excited to see that, and I hope that all works out for you. And I know we're definitely going to be keeping an eye on you and seeing how this all progresses, and hopefully hearing an album sometime soon. So, guys, like we said, You Knew Me, the new single by MiQ the Burb Boy, out July 31st. You guys should definitely check it out. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, man. Thank you. And actually, before we go, just to go back to what you said about people are trying to be better. I was talking with a vegetarian friend of mine, and she said that if everyone in the world was imperfectly vegetarian, like you eat meat every 3 days or something like that, it would be better than 1% of the world being perfectly vegetarian. So if everyone in the world was imperfectly trying to make themselves better, that's way better than 1% of the world being perfect. So it's all about just trying to be better.
Yeah, for sure. And we all hope to live in a better world one day where there's a lot more love and acceptance than there is right now.
Yeah, but I think we're growing as a people, and I think especially these past couple months of quarantine have given a lot of time for people to reflect on themselves and improve as people. You know what I mean? And I really like that. I've seen that in a lot of my friends, like them reflecting on themselves and doing better, and I love seeing that.
Yeah, I do too, and I hope it keeps going, and I hope we see more of that for sure. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you for coming in.
No problem.
And we'll catch you guys soon.
Thank you very much. I'm MiQ the Burb Boy, and this is 94.7 Hits FM.
Bye, guys.
Bye.